Good morning, everybody. The purpose of this presentation is to give you guys a little bit of insight about the literacy action plan that we've been working on for Ridgeview Community School. So I want you to think about a literacy action plan as being like a roadmap for making reading and writing better for our school. So this is a plan that will not only support students, but it will also support our teachers. So we will begin with our literacy vision statement. It says, we envision a learning environment where every student becomes an active, empowered reader and writer across all content areas. We strive to create an environment that inspires lifelong learning for students and teachers alike. One that cultivates critical thinking, deep understanding, and a love for literacy that transcends traditional boundaries, fostering lifelong learners prepared to thrive in an ever changing world. So, in looking at that, what I would like you to do is to take a minute now to read that again, and then be prepared to choose a word or a phrase that resonates with you to share with your partner. Now that you've had a chance to do that, or we'll at least imagine that you have, I'm going to ask for volunteers to share out what they had discussed with their shoulder partner. So, a vision statement holds the potential to be a powerful instrument for making well informed and coordinated decisions across systems, schools, and classrooms, steering and propelling efforts towards a common objective. So, to, sh- to add to what you guys had all just shared out, and again, we're imagining that that had just happened. I'd like to say that the part that really stands out to me in this vision statement is that it inspires lifelong learning for students and teachers alike. Because isn't it true that as teachers, we need to be lifelong learners alongside our students? That we're always going to be looking at ways to perfect our craft or to add to what we've already done. There's just always more to learn. I'm always saying that by the time I retire, I'm really going to know what I'm doing. So having that mindset of being a lifelong learner is very powerful for us as teachers. So part of what sparked some of the goals for our literacy action plan was when we began looking at some of our school-wide NWEA data. And so before I start talking about it a little bit, I want you to take a moment to discuss at your grade levels what you notice, maybe what trends you see, what wonderings you have, or concerns, um, and then we'll talk about it a little bit more. Okay, since you've had a chance to discuss, I'm going to um, talk about what I'm noticing. And the reason I feel like this is such a powerful telling piece of data for our school. So if you were looking at right here in kindergarten, we start out in this grade level, we have 2% of kids that are functioning in the lowest quartile in the does not meet area. As they progress up to first grade, we have 23% and 24%, and then it gets up into second grade. It's kind of small on my screen right now. I think that's 58%. And so here in fourth grade, it goes down a little bit. And I know that this is the results for just 1 year, but in looking at this same report over the course of years, what's happening is each grade level, say this kindergarten class here, when they move on to first grade, the percentage of kids in that lowest quartile grows this significant amount, and then it grows again, and then it grows again. And so what that data is telling me from the learning that I've been doing is that kids who are scoring in those lowest quartiles are staying in those lowest achieving quartiles as they progress through the grade levels. And what that's telling us is that our students, maybe it isn't that they're not capable of learning it, or that they have a learning disability, or that they need tier 1, 2, or 3 instruction, RTI, but is it that they're just not making a year's worth of growth in a year's time? And so it got me thinking about the work that I've done around Fisher, Frey, and Hattie in the Visible Literacy book, teaching us about transfer of learning, um, about deep learning versus surface learning, and could that possibly be one of the things that's happening to cause our students to not make that year's growth, so that their gaps are growing, even if they're showing progress and their RIT scores are higher, they're still not making enough progress to make that year's growth. So what could we do about that? I'm sure that that probably gives you a little bit of panic. And so I popped this in here because isn't this how we feel at the beginning of the year? Teachers are ready to rock and roll. It's going to be the best year. It's going to be smooth sailing. By the end of the year, this is what we look like, right? And the last thing teachers want to hear is, oh, we have some new PD for you. Whoops. Let me go back. We have some new PD for you, or let's have another PLC meeting or another curriculum meeting, or at our school, it's let's work on Atlas and adding to our curriculum. And everything seems to be disjointed and nothing really ever seems to be finished once we start it. Like we have way too many initiatives that we're working on. So, how can we approach the needs of our school in a way that makes teachers not feel overwhelmed and frustrated? One does not simply become a better teacher in a workshop. And isn't that the truth? We can't just do it in a workshop. We need a systematic plan that maybe would be done over a 3-year period to reach the goals that we need to make systemic change. So, the first goal in our literacy action plan is the work that we've already introduced to you that we'll be doing. And actually, kindergarten and first grade started today working with the Corwin people on our work that we'll be doing with the visible learning for literacy. So, I'd like to think of this work with visible learning for literacy to be that work that's going to be setting the stage for what we can do with all of our other goals. So the work that's going to be done in here, the professional development around visible learning, um, the goal with this text will be to help teachers learn the importance of deeper literacy learning through questioning, creating and determining success criteria, and the importance of teaching for transfer. The other really important thing that will come from visible learning that we will be starting with, and we did a lot of talking about this today with kindergarten and first grade, is teacher clarity, looking at our standards and really having clarity about what our students are expected to be able to do and how will they know they've learned it. And I have to tell you, the teachers that did that today were so excited for the work that's coming up because it was just so powerful and really had us looking at those standards and thinking about what the kids were really expected to be doing there. So that's one of the things that we will be really focusing on. Let's see. As Fisher suggests in this book, one of my favorite quotes says, all the work we do as teachers is for naught if students fail to appropriately transfer their learning. And is that what's happening in our data? Are they not transferring from one grade level to the next? Are we not being consistent? Are we not having that common language? So many things to think about, and our work with visible literacy is going to help us unpack all of that. Another big goal for our school starting next year is we'll be rejoining the main partnership for comprehensive literacy. And some of you are familiar with that um, because we used to be part of it 10 years ago. And I think now we've had such a turnover in our teachers. We've had a COVID pandemic. Um, you know, we've lost a lot of what we had in place when we were in survival mode with COVID. So joining this partnership is going to help bring back the structure and the framework that we need to have consistency across classrooms and across grade levels. So, for those of you that don't know, and it says here, the main partnership for comprehensive literacy is a school reform project designed to improve student achievement. So, in year one of our action plan, in the year one of the partnership, your coaches, including myself, will be going to the university and we will be training in our coaching style. We will be learning the framework um, that we will be putting in place in our school, and we'll be doing that by being in classrooms and doing it ourselves. So we'll have volunteer teachers to have be able to go into their classrooms as model classrooms, and then once that first year is over, the second year, the coaches will be able to offer our Good First Teaching course to teachers who are interested in taking that, which would be an amazing opportunity for teachers to start working on their own master's degree if they are interested, or just propelling their learning, which is part of our vision statement, becoming a lifelong learner. Um, so that's a really exciting goal for our school. And another big goal, the last big one that I really wanted to talk about right now is the idea of collective teacher efficacy. So, teacher efficacy is the belief that you can make change, the belief in the teacher that they can teach their students, all of their students, even our trickiest students. But collective teacher efficacy is that we are working together as a team to be able to reach those goals together. And so, John Hattie in this video will be talking to you a little bit about what collective teacher efficacy is and what it really is. And it isn't just, having those collaborative meetings across grade levels or within grade levels, but it's having those high expectations from one grade level to the next. As this quote says, the good news is that students rise to the expectations we hold for them. Okay. So I'm going to have you listen to John Hattie, and then we will have a discussion about that after. Isn't that powerful? I love that. I cause learning. We are the change makers in our classrooms. So I just thought that was such a powerful, powerful video. I love the work of John Hattie. Um, the power and the promise of collective efficacy is that it can be influenced within schools. So focusing on it as a change point is a viable path to greater student achievement, greater commitment to learning, and a more inviting place to come and learn. That's from another article by Donahue that has been that's on my reference slide. One of the things that's really been that I've been hearing, that our interventionists have been hearing, that our upstairs coaches are hearing a lot, is that my students can't. I can't do this because it's too hard. My kids can't. And again, that's that collective teacher efficacy piece of if we raise our expectations, they can. What do we need to do so that they can, right? So excited about the work around that goal. And then I just want to show you a little bit about what will be coming in the years following our first year with our action plan, so that you can see how it will build a little bit upon itself. So in 2024-25, we're going to be doing our work with uh, the visible literacy. Um, and with that work, hoping to see that teachers will be choosing a goal for our eye observation of one of our goals for our teacher improvement plans each year to just put some of that learning into action, to make that learning visible for yourself, and to really be able to focus on that. And that would be a great benefit for when it comes time for the end of the year to have your goals done. We're going to be putting in place a volume of reading standard. Volume of reading is one of the most overlooked reading. Excuse me. It's one of this is a quote I wanted to share with you by Richard Allington, and I'm stumbling over it. It says, "Long overlooked, reading volume is actually central to the development of reading proficiencies, especially in the development of fluent reading proficiency." Just think about those kids that come to you in kindergarten that have been read to at home compared to the ones that haven't. So think about the hours and hours of reading volume that kids miss when they're not being read to at home, and it's effective throughout even middle level reading. So we really want to look at having a reading volume standard. How many minutes a day are we going to be expecting at each grade level for kids to be involved in authentic reading activities? And then, of course, continuing the collective efficacy work, but having a vision statement around that. What can we come up with? So, our literacy team hopefully will be working on a collective efficacy vision statement, or maybe we can even add that into our statement that we already have. In 2025-26, this is when we'll be offering the Good First Teaching courses for teachers that are interested in taking those. Um, we'll be choosing our new writing curriculum as part of our return to the Maine Literacy Partnership, and really refocusing on that the expectations for a workshop model. And then another thing I haven't really spoken of yet, but this will be coming down the line, is our leadership team has a portion of that that's our PBIS team, and they're working on updating our school PBIS matrix to focus on some of the behavior problems that, one, are taking our administration away from us, and two, that are causing behavior problems in our classroom, interrupting our instruction. So that'll be really big. And then 2026-27, we'll be looking at restructuring our literacy expectations and talking about having literacy not just taught in ELA, but also in our content areas. And then, last but not least, having a new professional learning platform where you as teachers can choose what you want to work on during curriculum meetings. What do you want to work on um, for your recertification credits? So having a platform where you can go in and say, okay, I'm going to do a research project on uh, volume of reading. I want to understand that more. I want to understand more about teacher collective efficacy. You might want to do a book study. So that will be in place um, for you by 2026, 27, if not sooner than that. So when you think about every student deserves a great teacher, not by design, not by chance, but by design. Think about the work that we're going to be doing over the next 3 years and how we can work together to affect change in our students, not just by chance, not just because, oh, that activity was a good one, but by design, because we have clarity, because we know how to create success criteria. We know how to show our students what they're going to learn and how they're going to know that they've learned it. So I hope this gets you a little bit excited about our vision statement and the changes coming down the line and how we can systematically reach those goals together.